Good morning. I'm Michelle, a member of the Board of Trustees for the Tahoma UU congregation. As we begin gathering, I respectfully acknowledge that I speak to you today from occupied Puyallup ancestral land. I pay respect to the elders past and present and extend that respect to their descendants and all Indigenous people. We welcome all who are joining us with a longing for community, the hope for peace, and who are seeking justice. We're a diverse congregation which encourages each one who comes through our doors to find their own truth and belief. We invite all who join us in a search for meaning and community, guided by reason, respect for each other, and by love. The wonderful thing about being able to meet virtually is that we have the opportunity to welcome guests from outside of our traditional geographic area. So in past Sundays, we've had visitors from all across the country and even across the ocean in England. So a special welcome to all of our new friends and also all of our returning friends from near and far. I invite you to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Links to the video version of this service will be posted there this week and will also be on our website. You can find all of our program announcements this week in the e-news and listed on our church calendar, but here are some of the highlights for this week. Our staff are going to be taking some breaks during the next holiday week, so the Kids Chapel with Nancy Slocum will be next Sunday, January 3rd. In January, the tea times on Tuesdays will be with Joe Rettenmeyer, who will be working with us while Reverend Linda takes a much-deserved break to refresh and renew during a one-month sabbatical. He'll also be our speaker next Sunday, January 3rd, and there will be other guest speakers throughout the month, including Reverend Tandy Rogers, Matt Aspirin, and one meeting with the Social Justice Committee, who will be leading one of our worship services. On Friday, January 8th, you have the opportunity, again, to share your talents in the TUUC Open Mic Night. Our first open mic night on Zoom was incredible for both the participants and for the viewers. And we can't wait to see what's going to be coming up today or this week with our community. So watch for upcoming announcements on how to register to be able to share your talents with us all. Links to all of our programs can be found in the e-news or via the events on the church calendar through the website. And once again, I would like to thank everyone for being a part of our congregation and helping to support one another, both socially and spiritually, but also financially, because it makes it possible for all of these programs to be able to roll out and for all of our staff to be funded and for us to continue our community as we're going forward and seeing 2020 to a close. Now, I would like to invite you all to take a deep breath and gather all of us together in worship today.
Good morning, friends. Am I muted? Yikes.
You're not muted, Linda.
I'm not muted. Good. I'm sorry. Yes, well, it's a usual start to the morning, isn't it? My friends, it's good to see you this morning. And I want to especially welcome our friends from Saltwater Church. It's good to have you with us this morning. Our opening words today are by Roy Reynolds and slightly adapted. We have gathered here at the cusp of a new year. There is a sacredness to the moment. It is a precious parenthesis between the death of the old year in our lives and the birth of a new year. I invite you to bring your whole self, your fears and your hopes, your needs and your hurts, even those distracting thoughts about your week's agenda. Bring it all to focus on the promise held in this hour. I invite all that is holy to be present with us and throughout this time. O Spirit of ongoing creation, at this precious moment between that which is dying and that which is being born, we are poised in anticipation. Your secrets are the warp and the woof of life, the turning of the worlds, the mystery of evolution, all death and resurrection. At this hour, we come to celebrate our endings and our beginnings. We would be reminded of our own deepest knowing, our wisdom, our passion, our compassion. In the chill of winter, we come to sit and be warmed by your fire. O Holy One, surround us, embrace us, teach us, heal us, empower us in this gathering today. It is good to be together.
Please ready your at-home chalices and join me in our unison reading that you can find in the chat. We light this chalice in deep respect for the mystery and holiness of life, in honor and gratitude for those who have gone before, with love and compassion for those who dwell among us, and with hope and faith for the generations to come.
Hi, hello. I'm Nancy Slocum. I am the Director of Religious Exploration for Children and Youth here at Tahoma Unitarian Universalist Congregation. And this is our time for all ages, the time when we ask the kids to come up front typically, and we have some sort of a story. So gather around. And Happy New Year. Happy New Year. This week we are celebrating the new year. My 7-year-old granddaughter excitedly told me a few days ago that this year is the first year she's going to get to stay up until midnight to ring in the new year. The past couple of years, her parents have woken her up a little before midnight, but this year she's going to be waiting up, counting down the hours, counting down the minutes, counting down the seconds until midnight when the year turns from 2020 to 2021. But did you know that not everybody celebrates the new year this week? You know, here we use something that's called a Gregorian calendar. It was developed about 500 years ago. It's named for Pope Gregory XIII. And it's a calendar with the 7-day weeks and the 12 months of the year beginning in January and ending in December. And it was based on an earlier calendar called the Julian calendar, named for Julius Caesar, that needed to be tweaked a little bit because they hadn't quite calculated the leap years right. So now we use this other calendar with January as our beginning. And January, the name for the month of January, comes from a Roman spirit or god named Janus. And Janus kind of looked to the past, but was also looking forward, and it was kind of the god of doorways and entrances and beginnings. And so the first month of the year in the Gregorian calendar is January for the god Janus. It's the month we begin our year anew. But in other places of the world, they develop their own calendars. And some of those calendars choose to celebrate the new year at a different time during the year. For instance, the Jewish New Year, Rosh Hashanah, is celebrated at the end of summer in September. And the Islamic New Year, Hijri, is celebrated in the month of Muharram. The date is decided by the phases of the moon, and in 2021, it will occur in August. And the Chinese New Year, some of you maybe have celebrated Chinese New Year before, and it uses a lunar calendar. Also, the date is decided by the phases of the moon. And this year it will fall on February 12th and will begin the year of the ox. Sometimes New Year celebrations occur around springtime, considered a time of rebirth and renewal, or maybe the harvest, when they're celebrating the end of the growing season and the entrance into winter and the long dark night. We talked about that when we talked about Samhain, the Celtic celebration that occurs in the fall. So there's really nothing magical about January 1st that makes it the new year, other than that's when we have decided we're going to take time and we will celebrate the start of a new year. And we love to celebrate it, don't we? People have parties, and I don't know if they're happening this year, but often there's fireworks. I know in my neighborhood, people set off fireworks all evening long. People sometimes go out into the outside their home with pots and pans, and they bang spoons on them to make raucous noise. It's a very festive time for many. But just like New Year's can be different at different times of the year, it's also celebrated in different ways around the world. Sometimes people eat special foods at New Year's. In the southern United States, there's a tradition of eating a dish called Hoppin' John. It's made from black-eyed peas and greens, and the peas symbolize coins, and the greens celebrate folding money. And eating a big bowl of that is meant to bring you lots of coins and folding money into your life. And you add in some yellow cornbread, and you've got gold as well to bring you wealth for the coming year. During Chinese New Year, people eat noodles, long noodles. They're meant to symbolize long life, hope for a long life. In Spain, right at the 12 strokes of midnight, they eat 12 grapes, one for each month of the year for good luck. And in the Philippines, they eat 12 different round fruits, again, to symbolize good luck in the 12 months of the year. And then there's some other traditions, like in Brazil, they go to the ocean and they jump over 7 waves. And each time they jump over a wave, they make another wish for the new year. In Denmark, don't try this one at home without permission. In Denmark, the tradition is to break dishes on the doorsteps of your friends and family. And so when people come out in the morning and there's a pile of broken dishes, they know they have a lot of friends and loved ones. Another thing they do in Denmark is they stand on a chair at midnight and they leap off of the chair for the new year. Sounds like fun, but check with your adults if you want to try that one at home. In a lot of places, the doors and windows are opened up because they want to let out all the bad stuff that happened in the past year, if anything bad happened, and bring in all the fresh new energy for the new year. And in some Latin American countries, I found this one kind of interesting when I learned about it. They pick the color of the underwear that they wear to decide what they want to bring in for the new year. So yellow brings in luck, and red brings in love, and white brings in peace. In Cambodia, they celebrate at the end of the harvest season, at the beginning of the rainy season, and they clean their houses thoroughly, and they light candles for purification, and they put a statue of Buddha on the altar, and they focus on giving and on providing charity to others. And in some places, people use this time to meditate, to self-reflect, to think about what they want to bring in for the new year. Here, we sometimes make resolutions. What do we want to bring into our lives in the new year? Maybe it's to do something like be healthier and exercise more regularly, or to practice piano every day so we can become better piano players. Or maybe people may resolve to try to be more kind or more generous or more joyful in the coming year. There are hundreds of different traditions and different ways to mark the new year. There are a lot of similarities throughout all these celebrations, though. Many of them are focused on letting go of the past and looking forward to a brand new year and all the possibilities it provides. The traditions look for good health, good luck, prosperity, wealth, and hope for the future. This year, we've definitely been dealing with some tough stuff, haven't we, in 2020? The pandemic. We've had the protests around racism and inequality in our country. The presidential election has posed its own unique challenges this year. But I hope as you look back over this past year, I hope you find some bright spots, things that you might celebrate. And my wish for you is that 2021 is full of much joy and happiness and a whole lot of love. And may 2021 bring us opportunities to gather together once again. That's our time for all ages today. I send you out with the words that we sing in church. We hold you in our love as you go, as you go. May your heart be at peace as you go. To nurture the spark of your precious life, we hold you in our love as you go. Take care.
Now is the time where we offer our financial gifts to the work of this congregation. Thank you for your consideration to support our church during this unprecedented time apart. You may follow the link on the following slide or click the link in the chat or text your donation to contribute your support for our church members and staff working tirelessly to keep our congregation connected in new and dynamic ways. Every little bit helps, and while we are physically apart, our gifts are certainly stronger together. Please now join me in the unison reading as we dedicate our offerings. We dedicate ourselves and our offerings to the work of this congregation, weaving a tapestry of love we call community, both within and beyond these walls.
Well, like Nancy said, there is nothing particularly special about the first of the year, except as we make it special. Days are pretty much days, and they have in them what we bring to them, not what they bring to us. That's surely a lesson of many that we have had this year. I think everybody has been confused about what day it is repeatedly through this time of isolation and pandemic. It's like when my cousins retired some years ago and I asked them what it was like, and they said their week felt like Sunday, Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, 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 Sunday, and so on. They went to church on Sundays and then had a regular potluck with some friends on Tuesdays, but everything else was in free fall. My version of that this year has been Sunday, someday, Tuesday, someday, Thursday, someday, someday, Sunday. Through this odd time, it's been really easy to get lost in the days that don't seem to have much happening. As we've been saying far too much and too often this year, what a year it's been. It feels at times like everything has been disrupted. The raging pandemic with its attendant death and the severe illness, the chaos in our healthcare system as frontline workers try to care for all of the people who are ill. And then there are the endless deaths coming at us. More than that, there's the political chaos that's attended us for 4 years now, reaching a bit of a fever pitch. And though there's hope of recovery and more stability, it's going to be a long road, I think, before we find something that feels close to normal. It has been a year, and we're still a long way from relaxing into what's next. And if we're not careful about this, we can start to believe that it's been nothing but loss and disruption and pain. I fall into that hole more than I'd like to say. The Washington Post commented on it this year. We're trying to think of something nice to say about 2020. Okay, here goes. Nobody got killed by murder hornets, at least as far as we know. That's pretty much it. So today in our service, we'll pause for a few purposes together. The first is to consider what we get to leave behind this year. Let's not make it an exhaustive list, but get at what's at the core and find some words. We'll also take some time to think about what's sweet and good. And yes, it's more than no one dying by being killed by murder hornets. If it's only even the joyfulness of our animal companions for our constant presence to them this year, there is more. Finally, we're going to set what we're intending to take with us into the new year. Now, if you haven't found a piece of paper and a pen or pencil, or opened up a page on an electronic device on which you can make some notes, you might find something now to join with us. But to start us into our reflection, settle in and listen to this poem shared by Jonina.
Sweetness by Stephen Dunn. Just when it has seemed I couldn't bear one more friend waking with a tumor, one more maniac with a perfect reason, often a sweetness has come and changed nothing in the world except the way I stumbled through it, for a while lost in the ignorance of loving someone or something. The world shrunk to mouth size, hand size, and never seeming small. I acknowledge there is no sweetness that doesn't leave a stain, no sweetness that's ever sufficiently sweet. Tonight, a friend called to say his lover was killed in a car he was driving. His voice was low and guttural. He repeated what he needed to repeat, and I repeated the one or two words we have for such grief until we were speaking only in tones. Often a sweetness comes, as if on loan, stays just long enough to make sense of what it means to be alive, then returns to its dark source. As for me, I don't care where it's been or what bitter road it's traveled to come so far, to taste so good. And I will read it one more time. Just when it has seemed I couldn't bear one more friend, waking with a tumor, one more maniac with a perfect reason, often a sweetness has come and changed nothing in the world except the way I stumbled through it. For a while, lost in the ignorance of loving someone or something, the world shrunk to mouth size, hand size, and never seeming small. I acknowledge there is no sweetness that doesn't leave a stain, no sweetness that's ever sufficiently sweet. Tonight, a friend called to say his lover was killed in a car he was driving. His voice was low and guttural. He repeated what he needed to repeat, and I repeated the one or two words we have for such grief, until we were speaking only in tones. Often a sweetness comes as if on loan, stays just long enough to make sense of what it means to be alive, then returns to its dark source. As for me, I don't care where it's been or what bitter road it's traveled to come so far, to taste so good.
There is often, and I hope always, some sweetness that attends along with the difficulties. Sometimes they are so subtle and difficult to see. The constancy of a friend or a loved one who is there like the air we breathe, or the glimpse of a sunrise with its rosy glow, the feel of a cup of tea in your hand when the world is chill. Small blessings are sprinkled through our days by a generous hand when we look carefully and mindfully. There are bigger ones too, always bigger ones too, that we should not miss. 2 babies have joined our congregation this year, Ira and Max. What a blessing, what a joy. And there was a wedding between 2 of our folks this year too. Celebrations of love. Can't miss them. The more we name them, those sweet things, the more we look for them, the more we'll see. As we prepare for this coming years, I invite you to set some intentions for what we're going to look for, especially the blessings and goodness. I invite you, we're going to have a little music a bit of a musical interlude, and I invite you to take a few minutes to reflect intentionally on the year that is ending and the one that is beginning. I would encourage you to make a list of what you are leaving behind. Some of it will be good riddance. Some of it will evoke grief. Write it all down. And add what sweetness you're taking with you as you come into the new year. Don't censor it, just write it all down. After we have a little time for reflecting, we'll come back together and have a chance to share in the chat some of what you've written down. Let us pause now. And now, as we pause again to look to the coming year, we acknowledge the goodness and the sweetness that we'll carry with us, the love and care that is freely given to us, the beauty of the trees and the waters that are all around us, those bodies that work more or less well. There is so much for us to be grateful for, to be paying attention to as we move into the new year. Most important, though, in our moving to the new year is the attitude that we undertake as we step into it. Circumstances are often far out of our control, but how we come to them makes a difference, and we have some choice in that. Hear these words, a poem called "Because Even the Word Obstacle is an Obstacle" by Alison Luterman. Try to love everything that gets in your way. The Chinese women in flowered bathing caps murmuring in Mandarin, doing leg exercises in your lane while you execute 36 furious laps, one for every item on your to-do list. The heavy-bellied man who goes thrashing through the water like a horse with a harpoon stuck in its side, whose breathless tsunamis rock you from your course. Teachers all. Learn to be small and swim through obstacles like a minnow without grudges or memory. Dart toward your goal, sperm to egg. Thinking obstacle is another obstacle. Try to love the teenage girl idly lounging against the ladder, showing off her new tattoo. C'est vie est la mienne. This life is mine. In blue-black letters on her ivory instep. Be glad she'll have that to look at all her life, and keep going, keep going. Swim by an uncle in the next lane to yours who is teaching his nephew how to hold his breath underwater. even though kids aren't allowed at this hour. Someday, years from now, the boy who is kicking and flailing in the exact place you want to touch and turn will be a young man at a wedding on a boat, raising his champagne glass in a toast when a huge wave hits, washing everyone overboard. He'll come up coughing and spitting like he is now, but he'll come up like a cork, alive. So your moment of impatience must bow in service to a larger story. Because if something is in your way, if something is going, I'm sorry, let me try that one again. So your moment of impatience must bow in service to a larger story. Because if something is in your way, it is going your way, the way of all beings, toward darkness and toward light. I invite you now to share your words in the chat for the sweetness that you'll bear into the year and the intention you will live into. As you write them in, Nancy will light candles and Jonina and I will read them aloud. Friends, what sweetness and what intention will you carry this year?
Infinite cups.
Lunch breaks with Julian.
A small child's hug about my knees.
Be happy and spread happiness.
To be present for myself and others.
Family, close and caring.
Kitty kisses.
Sweetness, challenging myself again after a long rest.
Supporting each other.
Church service at church, amen.
Hello to having an abundantly loving ancestor, blessed be.
Standing, oh. New job, new opportunities, and old friends to help with the transition.
My hope for the new year is happiness for my wife and me.
The joy and stress of being my son's best friend.
Long walks by the water, listening to the birds.
From Facebook, Mia, we are taking the sweetness of a brighter future for our daughter.
To cherish connections with people.
Spiritual growth and change.
Intention for greater acceptance of one another, per the UUA third principle.
Zooming with faraway friends and family.
A new relationship.
Being part of grandchildren's lives again.
New job, new ways to uplift others and cherish life.
Music in harmony with others.
Deeply and courageously supporting our community.
Intentional community. Noticing the good and beautiful in our world.
Passionate marriage.
Commutes that last the length of my stairs.
The birds don't care what day or year it is.
A loving, empowering relationship.
Keeping the patience.
Feeling the heartbeat of people who are helping around the world.
Gardening. Leaning in.
Leaning in. So much goodness, so much sweetness. So may it be for us all in this year to come. Amen. Our closing words start with this Short Piece by Mary Oliver. To live in this world, you must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing that your own life depends on it, and when the time comes to let it go, to let it go. We lean toward the new year. Let us say yes and lean into the sweetness that is all around us and let go, time and time and time again. Such is always the life that we live, always moving towards darkness, always moving towards light. Happy New Year to you all. As the year comes to an end, may it be bright and loving. Blessed be.
Please join me now in our unison reading as Nancy extinguishes our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.